Welcome back to another conference tournament prediction video, and today we are taking a look at the West Coast Conference, one of the better mid-major conferences in the sport, and definitely an important one come March, and definitely a pretty closely watched. You got some big teams near Gonzaga and St. Mary's look to be tournament teams once again, but you got a lot of sleeper teams here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket real quick before we get into our predictions. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. We're doing all 31 conference tournaments. We got maybe close to 10 out already. I'm not sure exactly how much. We just did Missouri Valley, Arch Madness. Make sure you check those out and stay tuned for all of them because we're doing all 31. But yeah, like I said, definitely. I feel like if the bottom half of this conference, man, if it was a little bit better, a little deeper, I feel like this may be. I mean, it already is one of the best conferences in the sport, like just in general. It's definitely not a Power Five, but like I said, if the bottom of this conference was better, this I feel like would get into Power Conference territory because the top of this conference. I mean, Gonzaga and St. Mary's look to be tournament teams, but San Francisco, Santa Clara, even Oregon State, Washington State, they are not bad teams at all. But let's go ahead and get into the predictions. First off, 10 versus 11. Both these teams have been absolutely horrible this year. Pacific has only won 9 games. San Diego has only won 5 games. They are 5-26. These two teams split on the season series. Both these teams are, like I said, just very, very rough. I honestly am going to go with San Diego, though. I think both these teams have closed out the year horribly. I mean, they played it horrible all year. San Diego really not that far behind in terms of numbers. I think San Diego defensively has the best ranking out of either of these teams, offense or defense, so I like that. And San Diego State did close out the season with the win, so maybe they can carry some of that momentum here. I'll take them over Pacific. Then we got Portland versus Pepperdine in the 8-9 game. Portland has actually closed out the season pretty strong. They've won, I believe, 4 of their last 6 games. I'll go ahead and take Portland for that reason. I think they've been playing better as of recent. And again, Pepperdine maybe a little bit higher in terms of efficiency, but I think Portland can get it done. I think they're playing better. And their offense, once again, ranked higher than any of these teams' offense or defense. And I think Pepperdine is a team that leans into their offense more than their defense as well. So who do I trust here? I'm going to trust the higher ranked offense. I'll take Portland. Like I said, playing better as of recent as well. Loyola Marymount versus San Diego. I am not going to be taking San Diego any farther. They have 5 wins for a reason. They are a very rough team. Loyola Marymount is actually much higher than 8, 9, 10, 11. They're all the way up at 157. They're the first positive team in KenPom that we will be, discussing, at least so far. Yeah, much better. I'll take them pretty easily. Oregon State versus Portland. Portland, again, has been very solid as of recent. But this Oregon State offense, man, it really is legit. I mean, you look at this team, they are, I don't see anything about Oregon State. They have a top 40 offense in the country at a very slow pace, which means they're efficient. They hit their shots. I think Oregon State easily gets past Portland, even with them being pretty hot as of recently. I think Oregon State has enough. And Portland actually beat them in the regular season, but I'm still going to go ahead and go with Oregon State. I just trust that offense much more. Washington State versus Loyola Marymount. This is probably the first game where I really had to sit down and put some thought into it, I guess you could say. But honestly, I feel like this one's really not that hard as well. There's definitely tier gaps in this conference. Washington State, I would say, isn't as good as Oregon State. I'm still going to take them over Loyola Marymount, though they have a top 100 offense. Loyola Marymount, though, does have a top 100 defense. I feel like these teams are very evenly matched. I could actually see Loyola Marymount winning this game, but Washington State overall is just so much better. Ranking wise, like statistically, they're 35 spots ahead of them in KenPom. They got a better Torvik as well. They're ahead of them in pretty much everything. Although, like I said, this is probably the first game that I feel like could really go either way. I mean, I guess Pacific and San Diego, but that one doesn't really matter, if we're being honest. But now we get into, I would say, you could throw Loyola Marymount in there. But these are like the real good teams, really. These top seven, like good teams, not great. I would say St. Mary's may be the only great team, but Gonzaga could definitely throw in there if you want. But yeah, like I said, San Francisco, Santa Clara, even Washington State, Oregon State, all very good teams. But starting off with the 4 or 5, Santa Clara versus Oregon State. Again, I really like Oregon State's offense, top 40 offense. But you look at Santa Clara. Santa Clara is the third highest ranked team in this conference in KenPom, and also in Torvik. Now they're not too far ahead of San Francisco, but they are ahead. And offensively, they are right there with Oregon State. Not to mention they have a top 75 defense as well. I think you got to watch out for the Santa Clara team. I think they're dangerous. I think I'll take them over Oregon State. I just think they don't really them in San Francisco. Besides losing to Gonzaga, St. Mary's, they don't really lose to that many other teams in this conference. I think Santa Clara does it more, so maybe they're a little more inconsistent. But I think Santa Clara at their peak may be better than San Francisco. I really like Santa Clara's ceiling here. They're 20-11, 12-6 in conference. I think they get past Oregon State. I think they can match them if it gets into a high-scoring game. And who do I trust to get a stop more? It's clearly Santa Clara, so I'll take them. San Francisco versus Washington State. Washington State, I was saying, great team, obviously. Top 100 offense, top 200 defense. But San Francisco, almost a top 50 defense, top 100 offense as well. They're 23-8, by the way. They were at one point in the season, I believe, right on the bubble for an at-large bid. Like, this is a good team. People are forgetting about San Francisco. I believe they beat St. Mary's this season, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. I may be making that up. But I'm pretty sure they beat St. Mary's at some point in this season. Yeah, they did. Early February. And recently, San Francisco has been lights out recently, except for Gonzaga. Whenever they play Gonzaga, Gonzaga just has their number. It feels like every year. I'll take San Francisco over Washington State, though. I mean, they split, but in the game San Francisco won. That was the more recent game. They won by 24 points. I think San Francisco is the better team here, just overall. Again, I feel like the seeding is perfect. I feel like in this conference. I mean, you just go down the line, and you just get better and better. Because some conferences, you see some sleeper teams. There's definitely sleeper teams here, but I feel like the tier gaps just work out perfectly. Like, the West Coast Conference gets this bracket style down, because look at this. I mean, I would say Loyola Marymount. I guess Loyola Marymount's on the same tier as Washington State and Oregon State, but the 3 and 4 seed I would say are on their own separate tier, and then I'd probably say the 1 and 2 seeds are on their own separate tier. So I'm sorry if that spoils where I'm going with this a little bit, but I think the two teams atop of this conference are pretty set. St. Mary's is 17-1 in conference. They swept Gonzaga on the year. Their only loss in conference is to San Francisco, which means, I believe that means, yeah, they swept Santa Clara. They won both games by double-digit points. Actually, they won one game by 9, but that's pretty much double digits. They know how to play Santa Clara very well. I think they get it done again. Again, watch out for Santa Clara. I would say they have the third best chance to win this conference, probably ahead of San Francisco, because that offense can be streaky at times. But St. Mary's, man, top 10 defense in the country, top 40 offense. Their offense is actually ahead of Santa Clara, and their defense is much better. So I'm just going to take St. Mary's. Just they've been more consistent. And then the 2 versus 3 game, Gonzaga versus San Francisco. I do love San Francisco. I think people don't talk about them enough. They're 23-8. Very good team, top 65 team in KenPom. But I will have to go with Gonzaga. Both times they played, Gonzaga's handled them pretty easily. I don't really see how this could change the third time, or maybe. I mean, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. But the way that Gonzaga's done it, man, I mean, they just played very recently. I believe it was like last week. Gonzaga handled them. That was for the 2 seed in this conference. I just think Gonzaga has too much. And Gonzaga is actually a top 10 KenPom team, believe it or not. They're ranked 8th. They're 23-8. Any other year, Gonzaga's 23-8. They're top 15 team, but this year, for whatever reason, I feel like they're being forgotten about. I know they're non-conference. They don't really have that many good non-conference wins. They lost a lot of the big games they played, and that's why their resume's worse than it has been in the past. But I feel like we're forgetting about Gonzaga, man. I just do. I mean, they're ahead of teams like Michigan State, Wisconsin, Iowa State, um, St. John's, Texas A&M. I mean, teams that are getting two seeds in bracketologies they're ahead of. I feel like we're forgetting about Gonzaga a little bit. If I'm a one seed and Gonzaga's an 8-9, or if I'm a two seed and Gonzaga's a 10 or maybe even a 7, I do not want to play this team in the second round. They are a dangerous team. Do not. I mean, Mark Few, what is it, like 10 Sweet 16s in a row? Maybe it's 9, something like that. He knows how to maybe not win it all, but he knows how to win games. That's for sure, at least in the early rounds. But with that being said, St. Mary's has beat them twice already this season, and both pretty, by a decent amount. I mean, they controlled both games against the Zags. Can they do it a third time, though, is the question. I don't think so. I think Gonzaga gets them. It's very hard to beat a good team 2 times. 3 times, that's even harder to do. I mean, it's hard to beat a good team once, if we're being honest, but you get what I'm saying. It's hard to beat a good team twice. It's even harder to win 3 times against the same team. They know each other. They play each other twice every year. These are always the top 2 teams in this conference. I think Gonzaga gets it done though. I think they finally get over the St. Mary's hump. I don't know. I feel like they're getting going at the right time. I really do. I think this Gonzaga team heading into March is going to get a lot of momentum from this tournament and be a very scary sight to see. Um, as a potential sleeper lower seed, because that is looking like what they're going to get this season. So I'm going to take Gonzaga over St. Mary's. I mean, offensively, they're 7th compared to St. Mary's 10th defense. Defensively, they rank 36 compared to St. Mary's 40th offense. So very close both ways. And I think it'll be a great game, obviously. But I do think Gonzaga gets them this time. But yeah, that is going to do it for my West Coast Conference tournament predictions. Comment down below what you have. I'm assuming you have St. Mary's and Gonzaga in your final, but do you have Santa Clara? Do you have San Francisco? Let me know. Or if you have somebody else, I'd love to hear it down there. If you're enjoying these videos, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new. We do college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, and MLB as well. So if any of that intrigues you, interests you, go down there, drop a sub. We're trying to have 1,000 by the end of the year. I think we can do it. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again with another conference tournament prediction video. We're doing all 31. So yeah, stay tuned for those.